Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in again to another fun-filled episode of The Underground Bunker. I'm your host, Hobbs. You know how this works. It's a weekly web series where I showcase unsigned and underground bands that you need to be paying attention to. Because stuff is awesome. I cover everything from pop rock to death metal because, like you, I listen to a whole lot of stuff, and in this day and age where everything is polarized and everybody's getting offended by everything, having an open-minded mindset about music is paramount. And it is because of that we do this. We do this to serve the bands. And so yeah, let's get started. Segway! The first band I'm going to talk about today is a band that's been around for a really, really long time. I'm talking a long time. I heard about him from my old guitar player, and I've loved him ever since. This is a Labor of Love from 2004. Love this band. These guys are called Skin Lab. Now, I'm not kidding. I was in a band once, and my guitar player, Mr. Dave Greger from Mortisculd, told me about these guys a long time ago. And I have literally loved them ever since. He showed me one song, and that's the song that you're listening to. Showed me one song, and I've loved him ever since. The singer, Steve, just has this weird kind of nothing face meets Machine Head meets I don't even know. His voice is just very singular. And the music that they've written around it is as well. Because it's very driving, very chuggy stuff. And it really, really gets into your ears. And especially when you're driving in your car, it makes you want to fucking kill someone. And I like stuff like that because music is very emotive. And especially when, you know, you're having a bad day, all you want to do is pop in some Skin Lab and just fucking rip. And I can't count the number of times I've done that. They started in 1994. I believe they call themselves Bay Area Beatdown. Now, I'm not sure that's an actual genre name. I think I've seen it once or twice before. But I don't know if this qualifies as beatdown music, because when I think beatdown, I think Hatebreed, and these guys don't sound like that at all. Hatebreed's got that, you know, Jamie Josta, God fucking love him, awesome singer, has one note. One note. And Steve Esquivel does not. Steve Esquivel has an incredible range. And especially when it's down here, he's got you by the balls kind of thing. But then when he screams, it is guttural, and it is scary, and it is cathartic, and the music backs that up efficiently. Now, these guys have toured a whole bunch, because they've been on Century Media, they've been on Crash Music, and they've released albums through both labels. So, naturally, they've toured quite a bit. And if you happen to have catched them on the road, you know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, they're not doing a whole lot of touring these days because people have families and, you know, gas prices. Touring is very expensive now. But for the first time in 8 fucking years, they just released a new album called End of Silence. I believe it's self-released or through an indie label or something. And it's really fucking good. I hope they do a music video for it soon, but they haven't, unfortunately. Get to work, guys. Anyway, the album's good. I hope you check it out, along with the 4 other ones that they've done. Seriously, one of the best, you know, kind of driving bands, you know, around. And even though they were not underground at the time, they certainly do qualify at this point because they are doing what they do. They're doing it very well, and more people need to know that. You can check their stuff out on Amazon, Google, iTunes, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. I highly recommend that you do check out fucking Skin Lab. This next band was so good that I had to put them at the top of the list. They're a band that I just reviewed for bloodrock.com. These guys are called Sunwalter. Now, normally you would think a band like this is under the epic metal genre. Thankfully, they choose not to be labeled as such. They call themselves sci-fi metal, which I actually agree with, and I put this in my review. I think putting that extra synthy feel to it takes a little bit of just a little off the epic metal feel, and adds a touch of dreamscape to it, I guess would be my word for putting it. These guys have two singers, and I don't mean like Epica or Sonata Arctica, or Lacuna Coil for that matter, who have a female singer and then they have someone on the string section or something doing backups. No, they have two singers, and you and I both know how fucking difficult that is. You know, every rap metal band I've ever seen that has two singers has come up and fallen down. But yeah, they have two singers, one female and one male, and both of them add different elements to it, and I think they do it quite efficiently. Now, for a band out of Russia, yes, they're from Russia. For a band out of Russia to be doing what they do and doing it well, especially given the political and social climate there, as I have to say, it's quite an accomplishment, because we're talking about a country that doesn't give its people a whole lot. You know, it's not, except for the oligarchs, it's kind of a poor nation. And these guys, not only do they have a kick, they've done 2 full studio-length albums on their own, they also bring a look at that. They bring a kick-ass stage show, because they bring all their own lights, they write all their own stuff, and they fucking bring it. They leave it all out there on the stage, and I fucking love that. One thing that I noticed, and I don't know if they kind of, took influence off of this, but I sort of noticed just the tiniest hint of Japanese metal, notably Dir en Grey. I don't know if I pronounced Dir en Grey. They're these Japanese kind of Marilyn Manson-esque scary metal band, but Alexio's voice sounds like Kyo, the singer for Dir en Grey. Sounds a lot like that, very, very kind of cathartic and scary, and I fucking love that. Whereas Olga's voice sort of complements that, because she's very melodic, and it meshes very well. It's not shoehorned at all, and that is a very, very big symptom of a giant problem when it comes to two-singer bands, because one singer, inevitably tries to just kind of cram shit in, and a lot of people think that two-singer bands are doing just that, and there's a lot of bands that just sort of cram everything in so they can say, hey, look, we got 2 singers and we're doing this. Everything that they have in their band, they have honed, and they've honed it since 2008, by the way. They've been around and done all their own stuff since 2008. That's 9, almost 10 years that they've been doing their own thing and doing it well. I mean, look at this. That's a kick-ass show. As I said, this is one of the few bands where I've actually given I've actually given them a perfect 5 out of 5, because when I listened to this album, I couldn't find a single thing wrong with it. You might not like the sound, you might not like the look, you might not look like what they're going for, but this album, the album Alien Hazard, has everything you need in a good kick-ass metal album. I highly recommend you check out Sunvalter. I love covering bands from down under, because you don't get a whole lot of rock and metal from there, except from, the INXS and 12-Foot Ninja. But these guys came to my radar not too long ago, and I'm doing this terribly. These guys are called as Paradise Falls. As Paradise Falls, 5-piece metal band out of Brisbane, Australia, and I'm sorry I mucked up the accent. These guys got their start a couple of years ago. I think it was like 2014, and when I'm listening to these guys, I immediately think of bands like Ymir, like before the singer went all nuts and became a huge dickhead. I really, really dug the album listening to this. My favorite song is Starblind, by the way, and that's the song you're listening to right now. It's got this really, really cool kind of gent feel to it. And watching the video, it sort of reminded me of Shadows Fall, actually. Because you remember Brian used to do these videos where he's always sort of standing, looking off to the side. And there's the shadow and stuff. And his dreads are going everywhere. And I kind of liked that. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but it definitely has that feel to it. And these guys are a lot more, you know, genty than Shadows Fall, but it still gave me that sort of, you know, that ability to identify with it because I like Shadows Fall. Unfortunately, they don't play out as much as I would like. I mean, even if I can never see them live, they don't play out a whole lot. I don't know if they've been taking time off or something, but I haven't seen a lot of their tour dates on the internet. Hopefully that picks up, especially after releasing this album. I'm sure it will. By the way, you can pick up their album on Eclipse Records. You can catch it on iTunes, Amazon, anywhere you can find the music. You can get the music, and I highly recommend that you do. You can also check them out on Facebook and Google and Twitter and all that stuff. They are totally there. I hope that you check out As Paradise Falls. Here again, I'm going to take you on a drastic left fucking turn, because I love covering bands that stand out, and this band does that in spades. This is Shola Aurora. One thing I really like about this stage performance, by the way, is how much effort Shola puts into his look. I mean, you watching him, he does not look, I mean, he barely looks human, which I think is fucking cool. It's got that sort of anime supervillain look, and it's not overdone. It would be awfully difficult to do that, by the way, with as darkest tone as he has on his skin, but he looks kind of menacing, and for a band where most visual kei bands take the pretty route, he hasn't done that, and I think that's really fucking cool. You can check out Shola Aurora at Facebook, Reverb Nation, and SoundCloud, and I highly recommend that you do. Shola Aurora from New York City, check him the fuck out. Last but not least, tonight I'm going to talk to you about a band that I discovered not too long ago. I dig their stuff. They're from Antwerp, Belgium. They're called Voss. These guys are a three-piece sort of alt-prog band. Kind of nifty. The singer Casper started the band a couple years ago. I think it was 2015. Yes, it was, because I have it written down right here. Started the band in 2015. Writes most of the material himself. Very creative guy. And sort of went from there. They've done quite a bit of shows. They've done, including this one, they've done quite a bit of touring, around the area, gigging and stuff. And for a band that's sort of really, really close to Eastern Europe, that's kind of difficult to do, because Belgium is not one of the richer nations in Europe right now. If you pay attention to your maps and stuff, most of that area of Europe is doing pretty poorly, especially in the last couple of years. Their economy is tanked. So the fact that they're doing something like this and doing it pretty well says a lot about them. Says a lot about their commitment, which I dig. You know, for a lot of US bands, it's pretty easy to get into the band and make it sound really well. When you're in a shitty economy in Belgium, it's a bit more difficult to do that, because one, there's only so many recording studios worth of shit in Belgium. Two, they cost more than you can make in a couple of months just to rent out. So that said, for a band to put on an EP like Ron, I think it's Ron, not Ran, Ron. For a band to put on an EP like Ron and make it sound good is pretty fucking cool. And that's their latest EP, by the way, Ron. I hope it's Ron. Voss, I hope you will correct me if I'm wrong. So my favorite song on this EP, by the way, is called Far From Safety. And one thing that I really love about it is Casper's voice sort of has this dreamy sound to it. You know, it's got just the tiniest bit of Chevelle, but not so nasally and certainly not so boring. The only downside I see about trying to get this band exposed is they don't have a whole lot on the internet. And they've been around, for a band that's been around a couple of years, they have surprisingly little exposure, and I hope by putting them on the show that this will improve that, because these guys fucking rock. Look, they do rock. And so I hope by putting them on the show that this will motivate them to maybe put more of their stuff out there. You know, they got some videos on YouTube and stuff, but what they don't have is anybody besides this. I haven't found any live video, and so I really hope, by the way, that you guys will add more, because I would like to see that. They don't have a .com. I don't know if it's a kind of a weird thing, but they don't have a .com. They have a vi.be website. It's vi.be/Voss. And I think maybe it's kind of like Wix and something, where it's a free website, and they sort of... Anyway, vi.be/Voss. And you can check them out on Facebook also. So... Oh, and you can definitely get their EP on Bandcamp. So why don't you go do that right fucking now? Segway! That, friends and kitties, is all the time we have on this episode of The Underground Bunker. Be sure to do the whole like and subscribe thing. You all know how this works. So you can check out the other Blood Rock videos, including my other show, The Fallout Shelter. Make sure you check out the bands and all their stuff. Check out their music. Make sure you check out the Spotify playlist, which we update weekly to cover all the bands that I feature on this week's episode. Also, make sure you check out the Twitter for Blood Rock and the Facebook pages for both Blood Rock and the Underground Bunker. And if you have just a teensy-weensy bit of time, 54 minutes or so, check out my band, The Toxic Dream. It's a story-based metal band, and I think you'd like it. I'm going to leave you with this remark. There's too many people these days that say they claim to love the scene, and I run into this every week with the show. Stop talking. Start doing. Share the videos. Share the band's videos. Share their music. It is long past the time when we started loving bands again. I'm Hobbs. I'm out of here.